I'm going to give you guys 3 tips on how to catch some pike through the ice this winter. The first one I'm going to say is look for weeds. Look for weeds in anywhere from 5 to 10 foot of water. See if you have nice green grass, a little bit of vegetation right in there, mixed up. What I recommend when you're placing your bait, if you're using a tip up, leave about a foot to about 2 foot above the weeds. You can try that. If you're not getting any bites, go right above the weeds. Why I say right above the weeds is because those pike will be cruising in those weeds a little bit, or they'll be cruising on top. And as they're cruising, they'll see it, and they'll see that little fish swimming around. If you sit it down the weeds, the pike may be swimming above the weeds, and you may not even get any bites because the pike aren't in the weeds. Or you may get a couple smaller bites getting the smaller fish swimming through the weeds. Tip 2 is always going to be look at your contour lines and look at the lake that you're fishing at and structure before you go out there. What I mean by that is look at your contour lines. So I'll drop a video right here. Here's the first example. So along this outside is a nice flat. Most likely there's some weeds sitting right around this whole outside. Just got to find them. But if you find points like this where you get flats and then it goes out to a little deeper and then it drops back into a flat, that's a great place to fish for pike and fish for any other toothy creatures out there. It allows them to go a little deeper if they need to find some bait, if they're not hanging shallow, and it allows you to fish for multi-species. Here's another great example. Right here is a nice flat that's about anywhere from 5 to 10 foot of water, and then it comes out to a nice flat of 20 and then goes out to 40. This area is great to set up for pike, pickerel, because you're able to fish a little deeper if you're not finding anything, and it's a big enough flat where you're able to find some fish roaming in there. It just doesn't drop right off. And what's great too about this area is there's most likely a channel that runs right through here. And what I mean by channel is the old riverbed that ran through that area at one time. Don't go near the opening because most likely it's going to be open water and you do not want to fall in. Stay away from there. Make sure the ice is always thick enough, and see if you can find that channel right in that basin there. Tip 3 is bigger doesn't always mean better, but sometimes bigger does work better than smaller. I don't mean fish with small minnows. What I mean is fish with a medium size, just on the edge of large. Why fish with that? Because a lot of times these bigger pike may not want a bigger bait, but a lot of times if you do have bigger bait on, you'll get bigger fish. But what I found is if there's a bigger bait on there and you're only using a single hook or you're using a double hook, make sure you space it out properly and that you're able to put the bait on there and make it lively still, where it's just not going to sit there because the pike can see those hooks. They're very particular. And a medium shiner, for me, medium to large shiner works the best. That doesn't mean those large ones. They're probably anywhere from about this big to about that big. They work really good for pike. What it allows you to is to get some numbers. Say it's a slow day of fishing and all you have is big bait on. Put some medium to large shiners on there and you may get some more numbers. But if you're chasing that one big fish or those one big fish swimming through the shallows, throw a bigger bait on, doesn't hurt, and then just throw some medium to large shiners and suckers on there to get a couple smaller fish coming through to make the day enjoyable. If you guys like these tips, stay tuned to each week. We're going to do some new tips, and stay tuned for January when we go out there and do some ice fishing because it's getting cold here and the ice is freezing up. But we're going to be dropping a video next week from last season. Just found. So we're going to drop it next week. It's going to be a pretty good video. Stay tuned for another episode of I.N.C. Fishing Inc. And let's get to the bite. Let's go.